Two brothers talking. Ahmed Baba, Don Lemon. So the protests we're seeing now, Ahmed, good to see you.
Good to see
That
you.
we're seeing now in Minnesota, Minneapolis, and St. Paul, people are really ticked off, and they have every right to be. Do you think that that spreads throughout the United States? Is this another, summer of 2020, 21?
It could be. I saw there's a big protest in Seattle. We're starting to see demonstrations start to proliferate here. It was just such an unjust shooting, and everyone could see it with their own eyes, that I think it could be something that's a catalyst, because this was inevitable with how ICE has been moving. And I think a lot of people are just morally outraged, not just by the incident, but the behavior directly after it, the lying, the gaslighting. It's been insane. We're already starting to see a cover up in motion. So yeah, I think we could see this spread.
Before we go into that, it was, I think people have as I said, have every right to be ticked off. I don't want to see violence.
Of
But
course.
sometimes the only way that you can show how you feel about it is to exercise your First Amendment right, which is to peacefully protest, right? You can gather, you can for peaceful assembly. And it appears that's what is happening. But since I have been out covering these ICE detention centers in Chicago and elsewhere, I see the people there who are in charge, whether it's ICE or the local police or the state police or National Guard. I feel that they feel emboldened to be able to treat people however they want to treat them. And the rule books and the codes of conduct, as we saw, I believe, on the streets of Minnesota yesterday, sadly, that ended in the death of that woman, that just goes out the door because Donald Trump has given them the orders and the ability to be able to handle the situation the way that they want. He said, as you know, before, I think that they should go harder. He is not
Hmm.
upset by all the videos that are out there. And then in the New York Times interview, as this was going down, the New York Times was in the Oval Office doing an interview with Donald Trump, a bunch of reporters, and he basically was talking about what was in the video, but what he was saying was in the video was not actually in the video. So I think people have a right to be outraged. And if this was May, April, June, I think you'd see many more people in the streets.
Yeah, yeah, if it wasn't freezing out, definitely. No, I mean, I think you're right, because I think what we're seeing here is potentially an inflection point. I think it happening in Minneapolis, not far from where the George Floyd incident happened, is a flashpoint. It's just this disgusting moral abomination, and people feel it when you watch this person unjustly get murdered. Effectively, like we saw it with our own eyes. You see the video; she was waving waving cars through. And then here comes this officer. They come out, they don't say, "Hey, you're under arrest." Like, they don't even use any legal language. And what you're referencing there, the lack of training, I think is a huge part of this. I think they set up the environment. They've cut training time. They've reduced vetting. There are some ICE agents that are beginning putting put on the streets before they even have their background checks completed. And then you have this trigger happy guy where she's clearly turning her wheel away from him. Just unload on this woman, and it just it's a lawless. Like, he would already be arrested in any sane reality. He would already be arrested. Kristi Noem would be potentially facing impeachment hearings for her blatant lies about this. You would already be seeing people being brought up to Capitol Hill for this. This is just it's disgusting. It's infuriating, frankly, and I think we need to see more people taking action. Democrats should not fund DHS another penny. Frankly, I think they need to block the appropriations bill entirely until they get concrete demands.
I spoke to a law enforcement expert, and who I'm going to speak to. I spoke to him on the phone via text, and then I'm going to have him on the show. But he says, if this were any police officer, anyone in any local police municipality, he said he would have been in jail this morning. But for some reason, that's not happening. And right now, I don't know even if there's going to be an investigation. You said that there's a cover up that you believe is ensuing,
Yeah,
right?
we just got a new, Seung Min Kim at AP posted on Twitter. She said Minneapolis investigators say they can't access evidence after fatal ICE shooting, and FBI won't work jointly on the probe. Why won't federal investigators provide an independent investigation resources? They know Minnesota will move to prosecute, and they're withholding evidence according to this report. And not only that, we saw evidence of obstruction directly after the shooting, where they tried to prevent medical care. Right after the shooting, I'm sure you've seen the video where there's a person identifying
I'm a
himself.
physician,
He
and
said, "I'm a physician."
yeah. I spoke to as this was happening yesterday, moments after it happened, I had a panel on, and they said, while horrific, I think that they knew that she was gone. And that's why. So, that sounds horrible that they wouldn't do that. I don't know the circumstances, but according to the three people that I had on, they
Hmm.
said that they believe that she's already gone. The agents knew it, and you know, so they may not get in too much trouble for that. But I don't know. I mean, who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe he could have rendered some sort of assistance that could have helped her. Maybe he could have been there in her final moments to tell her something rather than just having her sit there by herself or
And
whatever.
and
There
then
was a
that's
there was a
Go ahead.
friend that like rushed over to the car afterwards. Someone who was on the scene, a civilian.
Yeah, there was, and what's really just been disgusting for me coming out of this is the administration's behavior directly after it. Like you wouldn't think Tom Homan, of all people, he went on CBS News last night, and he of all people had the most sane response. He said, "We need to wait to see the investigation play out," which is all the government should have said and should say. And instead, you have him saying this, but Kristi Noem, before I even saw the video, I had seen her characterization of it first because she went out there immediately and lied about it. She initially characterized it as there was a car trying to move out of the snow, and then here came a crazy woman that started attacking people with the car. That people need to talk more about how that narrative was entirely fabricated. Like there was nothing even remotely close to that happening. She was not. There was no car stuck in the snow, and there was no. She didn't come and attack people in the surrounding area. So effectively, what we saw is a ICE killing. We saw the administration immediately try to mischaracterize it and lie about it. We see now reportedly they're withholding key evidence from Minnesota, and then you have Trump and then JD Vance all day tweeting saying that this person was some kind of extremist, just defaming this 37-year-old mom who was shot with her kids' toys in the passenger seat. It's just, there has to be a line, man. Like I'm just trying, like, as a human, I took off my
It's
journalist
a
hat.
lot.
Like as a journal, like for the American people, like I'm analyzing all this as a journalist, and I just can't, like,
Oh, you mean
dude,
there has to be a line for the
as a
administration
human, a,
or a line for the American
a line
people?
for the American people to say this is enough, you know? Like, what the fuck, man? We just are accepting us being murdered because the ICE agent is having a bad day and is feeling trigger happy. Like, there was no reality in any analysis of this video in which it was justified. I can't. I've tried to rationalize. I can't. There's no. She was turning away, and even if she wasn't, you don't shoot. Any law enforcement officer, talk to any sane one, they'll tell you what I've seen from them in their analysis. There was no credible use or justification for force here. You have a car that does this. You let them go away. You take their license plate number, or you follow them in pursuit and pull them over. You don't shoot them in the face.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't disagree with you. And this happens every single day in every municipality, and police handle it all over the country. They handle it every single day. I had Michael Fanone on, the officer from the insurrection, and
Yeah.
he said, I've been in those situations all the time. And he said, did I want to get him? Was I pissed off? And he's like, Michael, yeah. He goes, did I want to get him? Did I want to pull out my gun and shoot him? Yeah. And he goes, but I didn't, because I knew it wasn't justified. And that's what my training told me, regardless of how amped up I am.
Mhm.
And that, if you, I know that you've been watching Fox News. I don't watch Fox News, but I saw someone presenting an analysis of an analysis of the shooting from both of the reference points or views of the both videos, right? From both angles, from a number of different angles. And they matched them together, and they said, this officer was not in front of the car. Look at
Mhm.
his feet here. We put them in real time to show you, and it is not. If you're looking at that angle, again, it's going to compress.
Yep.
It compresses. He's standing away from the car, but because you don't see over the bumper, and because of the angle of it, and again, cameras compress,
Mhm.
focal length and all of that, depending on the focal length. And that's what's happening. And so I think they know that this officer fucked up and they are
Yeah.
going to cover it up.
No, exactly, and that's why they went out there and immediately sought to characterize it before many people had even seen the video. I was in a meeting, I was doing something else, and then first thing I see was Christy Noem's characterization of it, and then you watch the video, as you say, and yes, analysis shows that he was clearly not in the line or in the path. Washington Post did a video analysis of this. They found he wasn't in the path. The New York Times was more clear in their characterization of it, and they said explicitly that the car was turning away and that they looked at it from every angle, every video, and saw that there was no way in which this guy was in a line of danger to the point that justified firing his gun into this woman's face. It's just, there's no characterization. You say I've been watching. You're lucky you haven't been watching for your own blood pressure's sake, man. Because
So
I,
my motto is be informed without being inundated. I don't want to take all of that in. And so I will read and I'll get analysis and I'll look at experts, but I'm not going to, Fox is propaganda.
of
It's
course,
not,
and
it's propaganda.
and I do it to kind of analyze, because a lot of times they get ahead of the administration and they'll kind of set the tone, and then the admin will kind of run with it. But either way, I want to,
Carry water, but
yeah, carry water, like yeah, exactly. And then they'll essentially, I want to make sure, I want to see where they're at, where their heads are at. And today I was watching it, and they're just fully in the administration's narrative. Just
I'm pouring myself some ginger ale as we speak.
oh, ginger ale. I thought it was a 40 for a second. I was like, you better pop a 40 right now. New Year's Eve
No,
is over.
it's sugar-free ginger ale. That's
Oh,
my thing.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. But yeah, man, Fox News has been blatantly lying. In the coverage I've been seeing of them, CNN, luckily, MS Now, New York Times, other mainstream media is actually covering this accurately, and bringing on credible people. But like the right wing media is fully in the administration party line on this, because they know how damaging it is. They know that they fucked up. They know this officer did
I'm in.
something inexcusable.
But I mean, don't you think that they have to do this? I
Yeah.
mean, Donald Trump is never going to admit that he's wrong. And what is he going to say? I sent untrained people out there. This is a real knock on the administration.
Yeah.
And so I think that they are locked into this narrative. And what they have done also is they have locked themselves into a defense by
Mhm.
putting out official statements, by having official people like Kristi Noem, the president, say, and Tom Homan knows that. That's why Tom Homan was like, let me, you know, I don't know. I work for, I think he says Homeland Security, and that's, DHS or whatever he said.
Yeah.
Um, so, I think that they know. I think that this is their only defense, and they have to go with it, because then it's going to be questionable about every ICE agent they send out, every member of the National Guard, every member of the military, every law enforcement agency they send out to do this work of detaining people on the streets. It's going to put that in question, throw it back into the courts, and
Yep.
all over the country they'll say, you are creating the danger and the chaos. You shot
Yes.
someone unjustifiably. So therefore, that sets a precedent that this all needs to be reviewed. They know that, and that's why you're not getting the information that you want to get from the
Mhm.
FBI and from law enforcement, and that's why they're going with this narrative. And you can better believe they picked up the phone, they got on the horn, and they
Yep.
told everybody, "This is the talking point. This is the game plan. Stick with it. Get out there and sell it." That's
Yep.
what they did.
Exactly. That's exactly what they did, and they went out there. They're touting this exact same line. They tried to call her a domestic terrorist, and some of them have moved away from that. But yeah, largely they're characterizing her as she was trying to use her car as some weapon. It's just it's nonsense. And you're right. If they cede ground here, then all of the rest of it comes undone. And the thing is, unfortunately, it's going to backfire. Unfortunately for them, fortunately for us, the courts aren't going to have this. People aren't going to. This guy's probably eventually going to get prosecuted by Minnesota. And not only that, it's just this exposes the wider problem, because it's not just this one officer. There have been others who have been killed while in pursuit by ICE. One has been shot, a line cook was shot. There's others who were literally got hit by a car while they were being chased by ICE. Some other people have died. People have died in custody, while detained. And this is just a larger scandal. And then again, there's this other layer of this. If I was a Democrat, I'd be like, yo, we need to bring in hearings about your training processes, because apparently they cut it to 47 days reportedly to
Because
match
47.
because he's the 47th. Oh my God. And then not only that, you pardon all these January 6ers, you have all these Proud Boys that ally for you. You're sending out propaganda and talking about, come join us to target the enemy within, basically, is what they advertise. Who do you think you're going to attract? What is this guy's background? Are we going to find out there was a failed background check? Are we going to find out all this other information? I think that is what they're afraid of. They know that if what their behavior gets, this behavior is just a microcosm of systemic ICE failure. Like, it's getting to the point where I'm getting pushed to the abolish ICE train, bro. Like, I'm like over here, like I'm gonna start carrying the signs because because dog, like I just can't even.
I'm with you because ICE is because and look, normally you wouldn't say that, but because ICE are they're like these thugs, goons, you know, this sort of the Donald Trump's secret police. It's not even a secret anymore. It's like his police department that he can just sick on anyone and any group. Did you see the Somalian guy who was the Uber driver? Did you see that video?
No, I think I didn't. I don't think I saw it. No.
There's a Somali. I think he's Somalian. He's an Uber driver. He's in the Uber line waiting for, you know, jobs, right? So so where all of the Uber drivers just kind of park and wait for jobs, like near the airport, and these people confront him, these ICE goons, and because he has an accent, and he's like, they're like, "Show me your papers." He's like, "You show me your papers. I'm not
Right?
showing you." He goes, "What makes you think that I'm not an American citizen?" They're like, "You have an accent." They're like. He's like, yeah, a lot of people have accents. And then he said, you guys should be ashamed of yourself. You need therapy. Why are you bothering people on their jobs? You
Good
need a
stuff.
and why do you have a job where you have to harass people at work? He's amazing. I'm trying
I
to get him on the show.
I got to go check that out because that's what you need. You need more people. Like, people need to be calling them out on this because, yeah, they're just go out here racially profiling people instead of going to therapy. They're just literally adopting authoritarian tendencies. Like just go to therapy, bro. We don't need to be out here giving power. And it's like, it's just insane what they're doing. And I just feel like the American people are fed up. And I feel like at some point, something's got to give because, you know, whether it's abolish ICE or whatever, Democrats, you know, ICE is a fairly new agency. Donald Trump just proved you can go in there and kind of shake up whatever agencies you want, right? Isn't that the precedent that Donald set? All right, okay then. Next Democrat, do what you want with
Do it.
DHS and ICE. Do what you want.
I know. Do whatever the fuck you want.
Do what you want.
That's going to happen. But we need someone that's going to do that. I think Gavin might do that.
Gavin would do it. Gavin would do
I
it.
think, you know what? Someone told me, one of my producers is hilarious. And he's right. He goes, we were talking about these ICE agents, and he goes, my God, it's such divorced dad energy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you
Yeah.
are brilliant because that's what it is. And I said, wouldn't it be great if Gavin Newsom is a stepdad that steps in and he's like this hot, good looking, smart guy. And all those like all these, you know, MAGA goons are like, oh, with the
No, exactly.
dad energy.
No, true that. Yeah, they would flee. And that's what we would need. If Gavin won, hopefully these people left ICE because we don't need those kind of people in there with that divorced dad, angry energy. I'm just gonna abuse these people for no reason. Like, it's just, I think you're right. And I think the next Democrat has to be ruthless on this front because these people deserve to be held accountable. You need this agency to be completely shaken up. The board, this is all so unnecessary. The border is already closed. What are we doing here? You're not even, this woman was an American citizen too. This is not some active immigration enforcement. They ran up on an American citizen and they wouldn't say, hey, hi, let me identify myself. I'm with ICE. It could have been kidnappers. They rolled up an unmarked car with masks on and said, get the fuck out the car, excuse the language, and grabbed at the car. And one pulled the gun. Do we blame her for trying to drive off? Would you have driven off if you're a dad, or would you just tell your mom or your sister or your daughter to not drive off from masked men that approach your car? No, you would tell them to do it. She behaved in a totally rational way of a person that was being approached by masked goons.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that needs to be banned. Democrats should work to withhold. My thing I'm telling Democrats to do right now: withhold every single vote from the appropriations bill of the DHS this month. Do not fund it at all until they ban masks, until they ban warrantless arrests. Like, go hard because people need to see, it's a catalyzing moment. And I don't think Democrats should just sit on their hands and like be like, oh, we'll write a strongly worded letter or the midterms.
Is that a strong message? Is that message out there for Democrats to do that?
Chris Murphy talked about it. We're starting to see a couple other Democrats talking about making the appropriations bill something that they contest. And guess what? Democrats, as we saw last month, a couple months ago, they have the government shutdown power. They can withhold the votes. They can use
They've
their
already said that
leverage.
they're not going to shut down the government, but that was before this incident.
Maybe they
But
shut down just DHS.
yeah,
Maybe they shut down because the appropriations bill 2026 budget comes. You just say, you know what, Christy Nome, you're not getting a cent until you do these things, and then see what happens.
I think Donald Trump would try to get the money and take it from somewhere else.
Probably, but
But still, they got to do something.
they got to do something with the power they have, and then obviously post midterms. I'm impeach the cabinet members. Don't even go for Donald. Just start one by one impeaching the cabinet members.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, go
Why
for
don't you-
no.
If they impeach them, though, I guess if they impeach and convict, then they have to go. That was the thing about Trump. They impeached him, but they didn't convict him, so he got to stay in office.
And the thing is, if you don't target Trump, all he cares about is himself. You target maybe a Pam Bondi who's mutually unpopular among the right. You know him. He might just fire him. He doesn't want the impeachment. He might not want the heat, right? So like, I think that could be a good strategy for them. Like, don't even impeach Trump. Impeach the people around him, and then use that to expose all this corruption. But that's
That's a whole nother show. But why don't Democrats do stuff? Why aren't they more strategic? Why aren't they more ballsy? Than like you're saying.
I don't know, man. I think they just need to feel the righteous indignation. Like, I think a lot of them, it depends on the camp. I think some of them genuinely believe we're an emergency, and others kind of just pay lip service to that. And I
But
think,
look,
like,
I'm saying that because look at what Republicans have done now, and not every Republican though. There are some who they've circled the wagons, but some of them I believe are afraid to come out on this one because it's just so horrible. But look at how Republicans just fall in line like that. And it's like Democrats just make a decision, stick together, don't open the government back up. It's going to be painful. They're not going to blame you. And and they have a heart. I understand it. They've got a heart. But sometimes you got to be a ruthless MFer if you want to get shit done.
You do. And I do think if there is some kind of decoupling they could do, where they could just target DHS somehow, their appropriations bill specifically, and not shut down the rest of the government, that would be interesting, because I don't think a lot of Americans would shed tears if a lot of ICE agents were going without pay. I don't think that they, and Trump's polling really low on immigration now. That's not his strongest issue anymore. This isn't 2024.
You know what's always surprising to me? Like last time when the government was shut down, and Democrats were like, well, such and such is not going to get a paycheck. And I was like, that's the point. I'm sorry, but isn't that the point? Like if somebody was going to get a paycheck and this person was going to get that and this office was going to be open, that would mean the government isn't shut down. So then what is your actual angle here? Okay, sorry, someone's not going to get a paycheck. I know that sounds callous, but I'm just saying, if that is your strategy to shut the government down, that means you are shutting down paychecks. You are shutting down buildings. You are shutting down job sites. That means you are limiting, air traffic controllers and TSA agents. That's what that means. That's part of the hurt that will get constituents to get politicians to come around to open the government back up for their constituents. That's part of it.
Yeah, and I do think for Democrats, it's more like, oh, well, now some of the, innocent people like the air traffic controllers and those would get disrupted. But I think if you end up just targeting DHS, it becomes a lot easier to stomach.
Right. Right. That's the point I was making. So you just target a certain group.
If that's
possible. But I'm radical. I say shut the shit down. Shut it down.
I mean, he's acting crazy. And then like, I was planning on coming here. Well, first off, think we were going to come here. I was going to be like, hey, man, congrats on your New Year's Eve show, number one. I thought we were going to talk about that. Thought we were going to talk about Venezuela. But like, we're talking about this. But, the Trump admin's acting crazy.
Yeah. Let's talk about New Year's Eve real quick.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just weird how, like, it's not, the show is not part of like the big New Year's Eve TV thing, but in the culture, everywhere I went, and just like people who like, they're like, man, I loved it. I was with you. I felt like I was at the party. They said, we were
Yeah.
watching you. We had it on such and such. We turned it off because it was the same shit that every year. This was like, you took us to the streets, and I was like, okay, all right.
No, it was good. Me and my family tuned in. We
It was
tuned in
crazy.
to parts of it.
Yeah.
We saw it. You were killing it. It was funny. You were on the street. It turned to a street party, and that was all. That was you, right? Like that was your
Organic.
it was organic, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like it looked like a great success, man. It looked awesome. It looked fun. And congrats, dude. You did it on your own. It went great. It looked like a blast. I have severe FOMO.
Well, next year you'll have to come, and I think next
Yeah.
year it'll be even bigger. And then since we know how to do it now, it'll be even smoother. You know, I just tried something, and I wanted to see. It was a test, and I think I'm really happy with it. There was one person who wrote like Don wasn't happy, and he thought this was going to be his big comeback, and I'm like, you have no idea what you're talking about. None of that shit you just.
You looked happy to me, man. You were having a
I
blast.
love it. And you know what? I was glad it was over. Like halfway through, I'm like, woo! But I'm glad this is all, because I had been, just in it. I haven't even like not answering texts, not calling friends back, not going out to dinner to meet friends. Any of that. It was just like, okay, what act do we have here? What time is this? Like every single day, you got to put out a video promoting. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I got to do 15 more things, which I have to do now. Ahmed Baba.
Brother, good to talk to you.
That was a salute, not a Nazi thing. I was saying,
we have to clarify that now. Otherwise, yeah.
What was the thing again? It was I salute or something. What did they say?
Oh no, yeah. They said he gives his heart.
My heart goes out to you.
Okay, yes, thank you. My heart to you too. We got to clarify now, man. You can't be out.
Have a great week.
All right, man. See you next week.
Papa, everyone. Two brothers talking next
All
time.
right, brother.
Week. We'll see you.
Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a show. We're live every weekday at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time with new clips dropping at 2 p. and 8 p. And if you want even more Don Lemon Show content, join the Lemon community. Members get exclusive posts, behind-the-scenes videos, and live chats just for you. So hit the join button or visit our channel page to sign up. Thanks again for all your love and your support, and I'll see you next time.